Hey everyone, so it's Wednesday already. I wasn't able to record much, but I'm just gonna go over the changes that I've done for Todool so far. So let's just dive right in. So first things first, something that you might notice is I have these bars on the left now as split paneled. So I can actually resize these elements. Oh yeah, and right now it seems it seems a little bit bugged with the scaling, but you can double click to reset to the origin, or you can hide it away and kind of reopen it. So that was something I didn't have, and the splitter is really nice. Alright, another thing that I have now is tab-based movement, which is something I didn't have before, so we can actually move from one box to another, then close this window and still have normal user interaction in here. You know, while anything is highlighted, it will get the input. And then once you press outside the panel, or somewhere in here in this case, you will go back to interacting here. Something you may have noticed as well is the top bar. There's also a splitter. I kind of want it at the bottom, but for now I'm leaving it at the top, and this is the search bar. So if I do Control F, it will open up and I can write. This is something I had last week already, but I didn't have time to show it off, and it's just basic. But yeah, it kind of hides away, and you can actually press the buttons. So yeah, pretty cool. Also, the nice thing about having all this stuff work nicely is you can go into the second mode and this will still work even beyond the modes. That's that. And something else I have now as well is Dialogs. I don't think I've shown them, but essentially if we write something in here and you see Todool has unsaved changes and we try to exit, it's gonna, not too nice, but it's gonna ask us, hey, do you wanna leave without saving progress? Then you can say save, cancel will just go back. And then close without saving would close without saving and such, right? So the standard stuff. Okay, so it's Sunday now. Again, I failed at recording incrementally, and instead I just kind of went ahead and implemented all the stuff I wanted to now showcase all this stuff. So what I got now, what I wanted to show last video was the theme editor. Got some more love. There was a suggestion from one of the users, I think Walter Plinge on Discord, that colors should be able to be locked for the randomization. So that's what we got now. I can go ahead and, for example, if I want to have the white background, I can say lock this, and then we can say we only want to randomize the hue. Right, and you see the white background stays around, right? Or if I want this purple one, it's this one, and then, right, you get it. I showed what this does last time. Yeah, but thank you for the suggestion, that was nice. Another thing I didn't show off yet was the task dragging feature. Anytime you have a bigger piece of information, you want to be able to switch that around, right? So if I go ahead here, I can hold, or just I can right click a task, and you see it doesn't look final yet, but essentially you just right click and put it somewhere else, right? I don't know if I want to animate this yet or make it show up differently, but this is the way I got it now, pretty much like I did before. But the cool thing now is it actually works with a multi-selection, so I can select multiple lines and then just drag them somewhere else, and they'll be reselected, and then like that. And everything works with undo redo, and it's very, very nice. And yeah, like I said, you can also select multiple lines like that and just put them somewhere else. The indentation is actually going to be the same, right? So this element info was the lowest indentation, And then once we cut that out, it's gonna still remain being the lowest one. And these. So another thing that you also see now that I'm kind of trying out is highlighting tasks a little bit more. So when I multi-select, you now only see the ones selected, or there's like this transparency around everything else, which I think looks pretty nice. And maybe for this one, I make it so that the Kanban itself is highlighted. Yeah, but just something I'm trying out right now, and I think it definitely highlights a little bit more what's actually going on. Okay, so another feature that I have now is camera bound checking, as far as I call it. So just Y and X position bound checking. So if I do add a few tasks here, you see the cursor is always in the view. So yeah, that's essentially it. We can showcase this very nicely here by just making them at indentation 0, and then going to the Kanban view. You can see it always tries to put the Kanban into the actual space that you can see it. So this works much better in this version now. I still have to, I think, adjust it for like moving large distances, but yeah, with this it's pretty nice. Yeah, and again, you know, we can go to this one here, and then we can move back to to the list view, and then it will automatically zoom to this one. Another thing I made for this as well is if you have large text, I added the option to enable wrapping or not, so like that, and then the X bounding, or like the camera will move to the X position. And yeah, it moves a bit further because I have a margin set here at like 100 pixels or so. Yeah, so the last thing that I want to show is that I reworked the way the whole options and such are saved. So now what I have is just the sjson file and the actual Todool file, which is the textual data here, being separate. So I can show you this. The sjson file now just includes the scale, options, tags, and such. The actual entire theme is in here as well. So you can go ahead and edit this stuff. So, you know, right now I have this. I can set the scaling to 0 or 1.0. Then it goes back to this. So it's pretty nice. I can very easily change this kind of stuff and go back to the UI and do whatever I want. And you can see if I save this now as well, it's going to show this in the actual file. And the actual Todool file as well, I accidentally overwrote this, but we can also see if I save now and reload, it's going to retain that state. Or if I change the task states, if I add bookmarks, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty nice now. Yeah, so I wrote support for sjson output and, you know, the pretty output. So this is how it would look in Odin now. It's just Marshal options. And marshalling is basically how you write the file from a struct. Here's the struct data output. So the scale, options, whatever. Then I just prepare the data, I initialize a struct, and then here I do the marshalling, and here are the options actually. The spec that I want to use is mjson. I want a pretty output because, you know, users are gonna edit this probably. I want to write uint numbers. I guess hex is also a thing I want because, you know, you have colors and such, and it's better to edit them like this. Yeah, just a bunch of options here. Hopefully it's gonna be approved. It works very nicely for my use case, and it's essentially just this. So not too much. You can switch between spaces and tabs, and just super simple. Okay, another thing I want to show off now at the end is this nice library, NativeFileDialogs on GitHub, and it's really, really nice. So here's the C code that you would have, and as you can see, it just opens up the Explorer on Windows, and then the equivalent on Linux and Mac OS, so just cross-platform file dialogs. You can see how this would look in Odin, or the bindings at least, and then this is how you would use it in Odin. So I can just compile this. So it opens up a dialog with nothing, and then you can just choose a path like ICO, font, CTF, and it's gonna show off the result, which was okay, and then the actual path. So if I run this again and I cancel, it's gonna say cancel plus the default that I had before. I think that's pretty nice. And then there's also like the save dialog. If you want to save to some path, then you can say this or that, right? You know it. It's just a really, really nice library that I recommend you guys check out. Now, one thing that it doesn't do is like with Sublime, for example, if you add something and then close, you cannot do prompts like this, at least. So I still gotta do that kind of stuff with my UI-based dialogues. So sadly, that's it for this week. It's just been work underneath. And another thing for the Patreon users, I always made this separate video with like code, right, where you could see some code. I think I'm gonna switch that up with this video starting now, where yeah, I will show some code, sure, just so that people can get a feeling for things. And then I think for the Patreon version, I'm just gonna release the videos earlier. If you guys on Patreon want to see anything in depth, I can make a special video just as a request, right? Or showing off the stuff that people want to see a bit more in depth. Or yeah, that will be a little bit less editing for me now. Obviously, editing takes some time. Hope you guys understand that. I don't have a lot of patrons right now, so spending that time into those videos just doesn't make that much sense right now. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I don't know if I said it yet, but August is going to be pretty busy for me. There's going to be the HMN Wheel Reinvention Jam starting in August 15th till 21. And me personally, I'm planning on collaborating with someone. Yeah, I still got to practice for that, so I'm going to start that today. If you guys haven't checked this out yet, you can obviously compete. There's no prize or anything, but it's just about reinventing the wheels, I guess. Yeah, it looks like there's even some visual showcase now from some of the last year, or like a database explorer for SQL, which I found very nice. Oh, and there's also the recap. You guys can take a look at this. So, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.